Part 5 of the Bedrogfontein 4x4 route covers the section from the 25th to the 27th kilometre, as well as the descent into the Bedrogfontein Poort, and includes 3 very stony river crossings, as well as the start of the long river crossing into the narrow Bedrogfontein Poort. If you intend driving this route, we strongly recommend first watching the orientation and overview video, as well as all the preceding videos in the correct sequence. Each video contains unique information pertaining to safety, technical, historical and tourism information. Soon you'll arrive at an abandoned windmill. Only a few years ago a small cement dam was filled by this windmill, but today all that remains of the dam is a pile of rubble next to the road. This is also your marker to try and locate the point where the stream disappears underground and which gave this area its unusual name. Thirsty travellers would hear the river but not be able to find it, loudly proclaiming that nature had defrauded them. In the year 1900, Mr. Henry Attrill, who was the owner of the farm Dagora, and his foster son Sydney went hunting elephants. Attrill was soon killed by one of the elephants, and his death resulted in a call to deal with the elephants in the area. The call was made to stamp them out completely. In addition to the death of Attrill, the elephants were causing the farmers damage by way of infrastructure and crops. On the 13th of January 1902, Sydney disappeared into the bush. His body was later found, but the cause of his death was never clearly established. It was rumoured that he'd committed suicide, possibly because of a love affair. Several irrigation schemes were proposed for the area towards the late 1800s. In 1913, Sir Percy Fitzpatrick proposed the Cape Sundays River settlement scheme next to the Mentone Strathmore Forest Reserve. From this point, the grading of the trail quickly changes from a grade 1 to 2 to a 3 and sometimes a 4 or even a 5, depending on water levels. We strongly recommend that you get a passenger to guide you over these rocky sections, as damaging an engine sump, gearbox or differential housing could mean the premature end of your trip and a very costly recovery exercise. Sir Percy Fitzpatrick's plan was that the area would be farmed by ex-British World War I servicemen. Water for this development would come via a network of canals from a dam to be built on the Sundays River near Johnsonville. Construction began in 1917, and as the dam filled up it flooded the village of Darlington. Originally the dam was named Lake Mentz after the Minister of Lands at the time. In 1995 the dam was renamed to the Darlington Dam. This is the dam that you'll see as you reach the end of the trail at the 47-kilometre point. The elephant problem in the area came to a head in 1919 when Major P.J. Pretorius was tasked to shoot the remaining elephants. He set up his camp in Kunkelbos and used various methods whilst hunting, including a ladder to see above the thick addo bush. Using a .475 Jeffries Cordite Express double-barrel rifle, he shot 114 elephants between 1919 and 1920, and also caught 2 elephant calves that he sold to Mr. Boswell for his circus. Pretorius also applied to shoot 1 elephant in the Knysna forest for scientific purposes, but instead shot between 2 and 5 according to various reports. His activities generated publicity and sympathy for the elephants, prompting a halt to the killing when only 16 elephants remained. He shot the first elephant in June 1919 and left the area in August 1920, at which stage there were only 16 elephants left. During the 1920s, there was little protection for the remaining elephants, and they took refuge on a land of a sympathetic farmer, Mr. J.T. Harvey, near Berkeley Bridge. In 1925, the Minister of Lands, Colonel Denace Rates, set aside the Strathmore and Mentone Forest Reserve for the elephants. This is the last and the longest of the riverbed sections, which will take you out of the Bedrogfontein Poort. When traversing these rocky sections, select first gear low range and crawl slowly over the rocks, trying to place your wheels on the higher rocks, which will help to lift vulnerable parts under your vehicle from being damaged. It's important to take this section at a dead slow speed, and it lasts about 200 meters but feels very much longer than that. If there's any water flowing in the river, the rocks will be quite slippery and even more care needs to be taken. Be sure to watch part 6 of the Bedrogfontein 4x4 route.